You're not ready for update version 1.0.0.030.01. You know what I'm saying? You actually probably maybe have no idea what I'm saying. I'll explain. Hello, my fellow hunters, and well, if there's one thing that I, as both a hunter and greatsword main, enjoy, it's when numbers go up. And I think no matter what weapon you wield, and no matter how you hunt, you agree with me there. But I think you might also agree that the number so many of us have wanted to go up for the longest time when it comes to Monster Hunter Wilds is the FPS number. Because, look, it's no secret that the game has had a rocky roller coaster of a road since launch when it comes to its performance. I think Monster Hunter Wilds is absolutely brilliant. I think the state that it is in now is enough to put it in contention for the best base high-rank game ever. However, there was always this little asterisk that I had to add whenever I talked about Wilds that went along the lines of course, apart from the performance, which isn't great, which is a problem, which does need to improve, and it's a huge shame that it's let the game down in the ways that it has. Well, finally, ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy to say to you that that asterisk has been obliterated! Yes, the most recent patch that hit last night, the next part of the promised performance improvements timeline, has hit the nail on the head. We are seeing across the board glowingly positive reports that things have not just gotten a little bit better. Yes, it's kind of better. It definitely is better, but it's still a bit like with base title update 4. No, now it is, wow, okay, it's gone from kinda rough but playable to this is smooth as anything. This is everyone seems a little bit tense because it's suspicious. That's the kind of level we're talking about here. Everyone seems to have this, how has this happened? This is much more than I expected, you know? There's this element of, when's the rug gonna get pulled? But, of course, it's not. They have finally, well, nailed it when it comes to performance. Well, maybe let's not go that far. There's always improvements possible, but the bottom line is for the vast majority of people that I have talked to, that have been polled, that have been reporting on this, that had any kind of performance issues, that have been unable to play or not had the best experience, they are now saying that it plays like a dream. And that is so amazing to see. So first and foremost, the point of this entire talk is, hey, if you were ever kind of struggling with Wilds from a performance standpoint, but otherwise want to get in and want to play, well, now is quite literally the best time ever. Not just because it's essentially content complete. We have, you know, like title update 4.5, Arch-Tempered Arkveld on the way, and I'm so glad this happened before that, so we at least get one final hurrah of an update with the performance actually good now. But the game is also, well, running so nice. If you've got a series of title updates to catch up on, if you've not played since early days, or you've tried each title update and it's just not worked, so you've not wanted to waste, air quotes, the new monsters, well, get in, get hunting, and happy hunting, because now, finally, from a performance standpoint, it will be happy hunting. And, of course, there is that word, finally. It is wonderful that this has happened. It would have been entirely possible that Capcom just cut their losses and was like, we'll fix it for Master Rank, you know, this is it. But they have committed and constantly, over the last year nearly, worked on it, and it slowly got better, and now we have tipped over that edge. And while that was the right thing to do, let's not kid ourselves, a lot of devs, a lot of companies certainly wouldn't have done. So at least some kudos is merited there, but it is undoubtedly still really lame that it did take air quotes this long. That's something that always should be held in our minds, and the main thing about this being cracked, is really hopeful for Master Rank. I was always a little bit concerned that if this doesn't get cracked, when we get round to Master Rank, are we going to have a repeat performance, which would be a shame, because Master Rank Wilds, despite obviously we know nothing about it, come on, it's going to be absolutely insanely amazing, and I don't want anything to actually mar it. And don't just take my word for it, though I, even myself, despite having a ludicrously powerful PC to the point that I've never had any issues because I've just powered through, I'm still feeling a little bit smoother in really high density areas like the Windward Plains with everything running about. But if you look at the reviews after literally today, well, we've had a slew of pretty much as many positive as negative until this patch has happened, where we now have 4 times as many positive than negative. People are going back and they are rightly changing the review to positive if their only issue was performance, but otherwise they liked the game, and that's really, really good to see. And if we just have a quick little look, we have things like Mr. Doggo here, 180 hours. If you asked me if the game that launched was worth its price, I would have said no, but now, with harder hunts and massive performance improvements, yes, and that was from today. We have this lovely just exclamation mark, yay, which is always fun to see, and we have my biggest issues with performance and difficulty. Harder hunts were added, and the January update fixed all my stuttering and massive frame drops, and this just kinda keeps going on as you read the recent reviews, and well, let's see. So, some people are still having issues, there's always that tiny percent, but by now, with this update, it is, well, the tiniest percent. And we have got lovely little various comparisons from various people to show it. Techlancer here as a random example. He's shocked that his VRAM usage has been reduced by about 3 gigabytes compared to before the update. He's playing with the old settings unchanged, but it feels lighter now. And that's a very similar story that I'm seeing. Your upper end frames aren't that much higher, but the smoothness, those low drops, the 1%, are just eliminated entirely. Basically, if you add any stuttering, you're gonna see it hugely reduced. The best video properly testing that I've seen is from Wreck-It Rye, who is a lovely Monster Hunter content creator who's actually recently learning Lance in a fun little series, which is actually something I also want to do. As much as I can't believe that I'm saying that, I'm kind of really enjoying it. In any case, he's done a really lovely comparison and benchmark performance text, both with high-res texture on and off, and obviously I won't show you all of it. There's some good comparisons there, you can go check that out at once, but videos like this are popping up all over the place. And it's just really, really good news, and it deserves celebrating. Of course, we've talked about and covered a lot the issues with Wilds over its release period, and when something actually gets fixed, of course, that deserves a mention too. But again, more than anything, it's because now really is the best time to play. You've got so much to get through, some really satisfying, challenging hunts, some of the best encounters like gogmazios that Monster Hunter has ever seen, and now for everyone you can actually see it because it will be smooth, there won't be stuttering, you'll have actual frames, everything will work nicely. But to get into some more specifics then, one thing that this update has added is extra graphic settings that you can actually mess around with. And they are making a big difference. Something like volumetric fog. It's not really a huge deal, but it's something that you can whack down to lowest and actually get quite a nice little bump for. The biggest one, more than anything, is render distance, which you can now change from the menu. This is a big lever you can pull, and if you whack it down to medium or low, if you're on a lower end PC, this is giving you absolutely massive results, and it's really not making anything look that worse. Honestly, there are very few zones where this actually comes into play in any meaningful way. So have a look through the settings, let it automatically toggle you to your optimum when you first launch the game after this update, and then have a little bit of a run around, and you will notice a lot of positivity because of that. So yeah, more than anything, this is just really, really good to see. They have finally cracked it, and look, it's not easy to solve performance. They rushed solutions earlier on, which is understandable given the outcry, and while it did make it better for a lot of people, it made it worse for a lot of other people that previously weren't actually experiencing problems. Because on PC, you have so much hardware potential across all the players. On console, which has always had good performance, it's fixed, right? So you can make it work. Whereas on PC, you have to allow for so many system setups and hardware combinations, and that can be fairly difficult. So now the time has been taken, the testing has been done, the CPU bottleneck actually addressed, and here we are. Wild's in the best state it's ever been, not just content-wise, but actually performance too, and that's really great to see, and it's made me very happy. So now I really cannot wait for Arch-Tempered Arkveld, for of course Shatterseal, the weapon winner, and this last little hurrah to really enjoy it all together. And the player numbers are supporting it. Wilds is doing a little spike again, and the actual daily numbers are higher on average than they've been for a while post-title update 4. It took too long to get here. That is true, there is no defense of that. But the fact that we are finally here, that is really good, it is praiseworthy, and it's something that you guys need to know about, and that's kind of where we're at. So yeah, if performance was ever an issue you had, boot up Wilds and see how it's doing for you. Fiddle with the new settings and enjoy. For now then, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. And until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.